glad I got it together. I got on the bus, and I was like, halfway through going down the street on the bus, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Where am I going today? And then fortunately I snapped and remembered, oh yeah, I'm gonna go out vlogging. I'm glad I figured it out when I did instead of just zoning off. I don't know where the hell I would have ended up. That bus I'm on, or was on, goes for quite a long while. But I'm in northeast Portland, actually on the other side of these houses off to my right. You can actually see the Lone Fir Cemetery. It's on the other side of this fence. So for those of you, I guess, who know Portland, that's a landmark. Kind of let you know where I am. I'm trying to get to 22nd and Cooch Street, northeast. 22nd and Cooch Street. Yes, it's called Cooch Street. So get all the dirty jokes out of your head right now. It's spelled couch, but it's named after a person who pronounced it Cooch. So yeah, it's a new episode of Historic Murders of Portland. Now, usually I don't really love doing cases where there's not a definitive resolution to the whole thing. Namely, the perpetrator, in this case I'm about to bring to you. I couldn't find any information that showed that he was actually apprehended and taken to court for his crime. So I don't know if he got away with it or if he was apprehended and the information just isn't out there. So I can't draw an absolute definitive conclusion as to what happened at the end of this case. However, this particular case comes from 1918. And, you know, back then, this is 100 years ago, it was a lot easier if you were given time and an opportunity to split town. It was a lot easier to get away. It was a lot harder to track people down back then, especially the further away one got. Now, that being said, I kind of tend to lean towards that in this case I'm about to bring to you, because back in the day, newspapers thrived on dramatic court cases. So, you know, murder cases are right there at the top. They loved talking about all the drama that happened in them. They loved talking about the conviction and the sentencing. And newspapers, they used to dedicate full pages to detailed descriptions of people's executions. Interesting. The stuff you find abandoned on the streets of Portland. But yeah, you know, newspapers thrived on that. Lots of cases, people talked more about the trial and the conviction and the execution than the actual case itself when it happened. So when I find no information about a perpetrator getting captured, going on trial, being indicted, being convicted, being executed, being sentenced to life in prison, what have you, it leads me to believe that they got away with it. So all that out of my system, today's case comes to us from August 4th, 1918. And my oh my, how things come full circle. I'm about to cross through 20th and Burnside here. The very first case I did, very first Historic Murders of Portland case, was a teenager named Angela Serico, who was murdered about a block and a half this direction, right over here. And the place I'm going to, Angela Serico was killed approximately where like 21st and Burnside would be. So this particular case that I'm bringing to you now, so many months later, is from a location about a block, like 1 square block away. So right next to each other, granted 20 years apart from one another, but I saw the tip top cleaner sign. I was like, I remember. I mean, I know it in general, but I remember that specifically from that one video that I did. But let's start talking about murder. So we're approaching 22nd and Cooch Street right here, and this light green house over here. I apologize, I didn't do my research. I'm not sure if this house was here in 1918. It looks like it maybe was, but maybe not. Go Bernie. But yeah, over here, oh my god, I love this place back here. It's all run down, but it's so great. But yeah, over here, where this house is, this was where the Espina family lived. And originally I thought Espina, I originally thought that that was a Spanish name, and I was like, oh, I'm actually going to get to do a case about a Spanish family. I don't know if that's really happened. If it has, I don't remember it. But I found out that they were actually an Italian family. Eugenio Espina was the head of the household, and he had an 18-year-old daughter named Mary Espina, and they lived here. Again, maybe in this house, maybe not. I'll have to check. Sometime, I want to say around midnight, after midnight, everybody's gone to bed. People, families weren't exactly night owls. And sometime during the night, Mary Espina went off to bed, and out of nowhere, there were several gunshots. As many as 6 or 7 gunshots rang out in the house. And what had happened was someone had crept in through Mary Espina's bedroom window and shot her to death. Just stood over her sleeping body and just pumped several shots into her, killed her in her sleep. And, it could have almost been a perfect crime. Whoever did this could have done what they did and snuck right back out the window and disappeared into the night. But apparently he chose to escape running through the house, and of course the Espina family heard the gunfire and immediately reacted, and the perpetrator, while trying to escape, was confronted by the father, Eugenio, and they scuffled, but the perpetrator managed to break free, ran out of the house, bolted down the street in some direction, I don't really know, and just disappeared into the night. However, by running through the house and not just escaping back out the window, the perpetrator allowed himself to be seen by the father. So the father knew who had crept into his house and fired the gunshots. I can't imagine in the aftermath him, the father, rushing to his daughter's bedroom and discovering her just riddled with bullet holes. This was obviously a very personal attack that had occurred here at, again, the northeast corner of Cooch, going this way, and 22nd is the crossing street where this house is here today. And so, fortunately, the identification by Eugenio Espina of the man he grappled with, who then fled the home and ran off into the night, he identified him as a Giovanni Monaco, another Italian gentleman. I noticed it was Giovanna. It may have been Giovanni. I know Giovanni's a little bit more, well, I mean, I guess in general we think of it as a more well-known Italian name, but unless you really know Italian history, I guess you're not going to know. But Giovanni Monaco was the man that the father identified as the individual who crept into the home, fired the shots, and then fought with Eugenio Espina and vanished into the night. And Giovanni Monaco was another one of these guys that he was allowed the opportunity in this life to meet a young lady, and he chose to become obsessed with her. And as the story goes, sometime, probably at least a few months before we get to start of August 1918. This young man, Giovanni Monaco, is taken in by the Espina family as a boarder. He's allowed to live at their home. Maybe he's doing some odd jobs for them. Whatever the case, he's taken in by the family. You think he'd be a little bit appreciative of that, and he immediately starts becoming very enamored of the daughter in the family, Mary Espina, and clearly starts making multiple advancements on her that she presumably was resistant toward. I actually didn't really find anything that said definitively that she resisted him, so I don't really know how much of this story is she resisted him and he couldn't handle it, or how much of it was the family, specifically the father, was resistant towards his intentions with his daughter. Which, you know, it's how fathers get sometimes. And, you know, maybe he got bad vibes about this guy. Maybe he thought, this guy's not, you're just a boarder here, you can't even take care of yourself yet, you're trying to make the moves on my daughter. I don't think so, young man. And ultimately, it seems, what the hell is going on over here? Anyway, ultimately, I'm very frightened right now. Oh, I think he's talking about the NBA team, the Clippers. I thought he was talking about Clippers like a big pair of scissors to cut someone with. Sorry. That was a distraction I couldn't avoid. Anyway, ultimately, due to his, you know, approachment towards Mary Espina, Eugenio Espina has him kicked out of the home. So of course Monaco's pissed about this. He wants to be with this woman, and he likely perceived that her father was getting in the way of things. And he actually, because, you know, most criminals aren't exactly brilliant, he started sending, like, you know, angry, threatening letters to the family, to you know, threatening Mary. Why? I don't know. And obviously threatening her father. And they took these letters and turned them over to the proper authorities, and ultimately the conclusion that was reached was the authorities contacted Monaco and said, like, you know, you need to get the hell out of the city. Literally, they were like, you're a threat to this family, you need to get out. He was actually legally forced to leave the city, leave the state. He was escorted to Union Station by, you know, authority figures and put on a train to Seattle with the understanding that he wasn't going to come back, and if he came back, they were going to, you know, charge him with something. I guess charge him with evading their authority. So he already would have been in trouble if he ever came back to Portland. And this wasn't long before Mary Espina died. This was maybe like a week before she died. And again, she died on August 4th. By what should be no shock to anyone, it gets to be August 3rd. It's the day before Mary Espina was killed. And lo and behold, who is seen back in the city of Portland but Giovanni Monaco? And Monaco's not just back in town, he's asking around town. He wants to know where Mary is. Is Mary still living at home? Did she move out on her own or with some other people? You know, is she here? Is she there? Who knows? He's actively looking for her. Oh my God. I've seen this house before. It's just, this business is shut down, but this house has seen better days. Oh my Lord, all the windows are busted out up there. I'm guessing this place is vacant right now, but these are very rare in Portland. Properties get bought up so quickly. You very rarely have the house that's just lingering, just completely bashed in and destroyed. Like, you can see, it looks like there was a fire in there. You can't see it, but it looks all black and collapsed inside that window. There's even some, yeah, this house probably caught fire, and the owners are like, well, the hell with this, I'm out of here. I think this is where Monaco was hiding when he came back to Portland. I'm joking. I doubt that very highly. Wouldn't that be interesting if I randomly found that fact? So we know the night, within hours of Mary being murdered, that he was looking around for her. If only her family knew, and they could have taken precaution, contacted the authorities, so on and so forth. But that never happened. And Monaco, obviously from someone, he either found out or he decided, I'm just going to go check the house and see if she's still living there. It seems pretty definitive based on what he did, which was obviously premeditated. It was obvious that he found out to some capacity that she was still living there, because he chose to creep in through her bedroom window, which seems pretty definitive he knew she'd be there. And, it's just another one of these disgusting, sad, depressing, tragic stories of men, for the most part, 99% of the time, thinking, look at the toxically masculine society we live in now, and it was even more so back in the day. That's why I end up having so many of these cases of men who can't get the women they want, and so they kill them, or they kill others that are trying to keep them away from those women. No matter how much they're told, I don't like you, I don't want to be with you, they keep coming back for more, and sometimes it ends in tragedy. And that was the case for 18-year-old Mary Espina. He crept through her window, nobody saw it coming. He didn't try to kidnap her and declare his love for her. He obviously, this wasn't love. This was, I don't know what the hell this was for this guy, but when you're enamored for someone, and then months later you sneak into her home and pump several bullets into her sleeping body, that ain't love. I don't care who you are. I don't care how dark your perspective on the world is. And the last bit of information I found on this guy is that he fled into the night. So again, I found no verification that he was ever apprehended or taken to task for the crimes that he committed. So as far as I can tell, this no good son of a bitch got away with it. That's what I truly think happened. And so we're left with a little bit of mystery, because we don't know for certain, but as far as I can tell, he likely, Giovanni Monaco likely killed Mary Espina and then split town as quickly as possible. I doubt he went back to Seattle, since he was supposed to be there all along. And all we're left with is the young man disappearing into the night. And that's it. The horribly tragic, violent, brutal story of the murder of 18-year-old Mary Espina of Northeast Portland. It's a little ways back that way. So remember, as always, guys, again, thank you so much for watching. And remember to like, share, subscribe, comment, hit up my Patreon if you so choose. And until next time, this has been Steve the Amateur Historian.